Alright, today we are looking at using proportions to solve percentages. Okay, so we're going to look at just a kind of a naked problem. This is kind of what a naked percent problem looks like. It has a percentage, it has a number that goes with the word of, and it has either a number or a blank that goes with the word is. That's going to be kind of what a naked percentage problem would look like. 25% of 80 is unknown. For the moment, we're going to skip our percent bar, and we're going to come straight to the proportion. Okay? Generically, our proportion looks like is over of equals the percent over 100. When we're talking about labels, this is going to be the part, this is the whole, this is going to be your percentage, and this is going to be whatever your value is. So let's just put a V there. So I want to know 25%, so I want to put 25 here. And you all know that percent means out of 100, which is why we have this percent number out of 100. So I'm going to put 100 here. Of is going to be my whole number. So I'm going to put 80. That's the whole amount, and I want to know the part of 80 that 25% is. There are several different ways to do this. We can use the within method. Actually, let's go the other way because that's not going to work quite as cleanly. So we can multiply that times 1/4 or divide by 4. And then we can do the same thing here. We can divide by 4 or multiply times 1/4. And 80 divided by 4 is 20. We could reduce this first, and it would actually be 1/4. So that we could do that, and then we could have a relationship between our ratios. We could also cross multiply, and we would get 800 times 25. Sorry, 80 times 25 equals 100 times x. And that's going to be 2,000. 80 times 25 is 2,000. And then we would divide this by 100, and we would divide this by 100, and we would get x equals 20. So we're going to get the same answer either way. Now that we have done it as a proportion, we've set up our labels, we've solved it several different ways, we are going to look at it as a percent bar. This is a little bit different way of setting up our proportion. We have our percents over here. We have our value over here. Okay? 100% of my value in this case is 80. So we have 80 and 100. We're looking for an unknown somewhere in here, and I know 25%. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this bar I'm going to divide it first into half, and that's going to be at 50%. Then I'm going to divide that in half, and that's going to be about 25%. So my answer is going to fall somewhere in here. So now I have basically the same proportion that I had. I have x over 80, 25 over 100. And the way I can do this is, how do I get, same way, it's the same way, y'all. How do I get from 100 to 25? Well, I divide by 4. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to divide by 4. The bar is really just to help if you're having trouble setting up these proportions. So okay, I see. This is a little confusing, but each one of these is an expression. And we want to each one of these is a different expression. This is 80 divided by 2 divided by 2. So 80 divided by 2 is 40. divided by 2 is 20, so that works. 80 divided by 4 is exactly what we did. 80 divided by 2 is only 40, so that does not work. 80 times 0.25, or 1/4, that is also what we did. Remember how I always used both ways? That works. 25 times 80, this is not 0.25, this is 25, which then is 2,000, and that's not what we're looking for. The answer is 20. Same thing. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through this. We're looking at a word problem this time. There are 500 students in the 8th grade. 3%, I'm going to write it out there so I don't forget, 3% were absent Friday. How many 8th graders were absent Friday? Well, I'm going to label, I've got part and whole. I've got my value and my percentage. And this is always going to be over 100, always, always, always. Again, I can flip this. I can do the same things we did with the other ones as long as my percents line up and my value lines up, my parts line up, and my wholes line up. But 100 is always going to be next to the percentage. 3. 500 is my whole number of students. I need to know what goes in that box. Okay, so 103, those are ugly. We got that 3s are never pretty. So instead of doing it that way, let's go between our ratios. Times 5. Times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. I could also do the cross multiply, which is going to be 500 times 3, which is 1500, equals... And remember, the blue was unknown, so it would have been 100 times x. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 100, which gives me x equals 15. Percent bar, same way. I have 100%. My 100% number is 500. I am looking for 3%, so it's going to be way down here by 0%. So here's what I would do on this one, because it's not pretty like the 25 was. I would go, okay, so how do I get from 100 to 1%? And to get from 100 to 1, I'm going to divide by 100. And I'm going to divide this by 100. So 1% equals 5. And I need to get to 3%, which is going to be 15. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So I get the same value there. Okay, again, looking for some expressions that do not apply. 500 divided by 3. Well, let's do it real quick. 3 goes 1 time with 2 left over. Goes 6 times with 2 left over. Goes 6 times with 2 left over. And it's repeating. So let's make that, instead of 0.6, let's make that 2/3. Can we do that? Yes, we can. So let's do that. So 166 2/3. And then we're going to divide that by 3. This is not nice. Well, I didn't even have to do the math. I already know that 166 divided by 3 is going to be way more than 15. So I'm going to mark that one out. 500 divided by 0.3. That is not what we did. Oh, you know what? We didn't do any of these. So what I'm going to have us do over here is let's just write one that we did. Let's write an expression that we actually used. In order to get the answer, we used 3 times 5. And that's how we did that. We're not even going to worry about the rest of it because that's not how we did it. And it's okay if you do it differently. There are a million different ways to do it. Our answer is 15. Okay, you have 6 more of these to work on your own or with a partner. You've got these 2. And yes, I want you to show all the work. You only have to do one way. Don't do it all 2 or 3 ways in here. Just pick one way. Cross multiply if you want. Use between or within if you want. That's fine. When you get over here, you're going to do what we did in that last one, and you're just going to write an expression that will help us know how you solved for whichever one of these is missing. Okay? Typically, this is always going to be 100. And then you're going to write your solution in these boxes. So you have 6 problems to do on your own. And then when you are done with this, I will have something else for you that's on the board already.